Hey guys, this is OddOneGaming. This is going to be another Dragonheir SilentGods video. In today's video, we're going to talk about the Heretical ruins, and I'm going to show you a team that I have found that is able to tackle stage 9 of it, okay? Stages 9 are going to be pretty difficult to do most of the time. The most important ones will always be 7 and 8, so you can start getting those legendary forging materials, so you can start getting the legendary runes as well. But then when it comes to 9, it's obviously going to be more complex, harder to build and whatnot, so you know, they're not going to be as easy. And what I'm going to show you is maybe not the easiest to obtain, but at the same time, it's pretty easy as long as you have certain stats, certain artifacts and whatnot. Also, the reason why I want to show you this team today is because we have the Shadow Dungeon as, you know, the Heretical Ruins being the one that is going on live right now. So the team that I'm actually using is pretty fun one because it's using 3 rares and 2 epics, okay? So I'm using a Nimbus as one of the DPS. He's gonna be, like I said, pretty well built, some good stats, good artifact on him. Then the other one's gonna be Shelter, which again, good gear on him, good artifact, and again, some of that stuff, no legendary artifact, unless I put something and I forgot. But those are going to be the 2 ones which, well, basically for those 2, you want to have your best possible DPS, okay? Because it's kind of hard to deal with this if you don't do enough damage, especially on the side ad. So, started with those 2 epics, but then I also have Quarian as a healer that's also in the protection set, so it soaks up some of the damage. I have Irina in there with more damage, and she's the one that has the Crown of the Unclean. She's in there basically for the attack penalty, and she can dispel 1 buff from the boss. And at the same time, I actually have a 4-star Irina that's going to be cleansing my the debuff. So let's go through the run so you see exactly how it works. And after that, at the end, I'm going to show you the preset and maybe again the builds and explain it. And the whole idea with this fight is you don't really need a designated tank. So from my team, for example, you see that the one that's tanking for me is actually Quarian, okay? Not even Sheltered as the melee unit, because I built it in such a way so that Quarian's gonna be the one that's gonna be taking the hits from the melee ones, because then this one happens, he does the healing, and then Irina, boom, comes and cleanses that burn, okay? The boss only does burn when he does that ultimate, okay? He does that, you know, spits a fireball and does damage and places burn on everyone, and that's the biggest hit that you're worried about. So basically, in order to make this fight as easy as possible, you want to make sure you have attack penalty before the boss does the ultimate, okay? And at the same time, you want to make sure that after this happens, you cleanse it or you have somebody that blocks it before. And while you're maintaining those 2 things, make sure you do damage a lot, because you want to kill those side ads as quick as possible so that you can move on to the boss, or you want to make sure you have enough AoE damage to do the actual damage that you want on the boss, because you see he gains and boom, he gains invisibility again, and once that happens, people start focusing on the other ones, okay? They start focusing on the side ads, and I'm doing it pretty well because, like I said, they're pretty decent build, they're pretty okay build, but, you know, it is stage 9, so it's not going to be easy. However, if I can do it with, like, you know, 3 rares and 2 epics, I'm quite sure most of you should be able to do it as well with bigger rosters, maybe bringing some legendaries into the fight, and yeah, it should be pretty achievable. It's not the easiest, again, but at the same time, it's not the hardest. And, you know, hopefully this gives you ideas. Hopefully this gives you ideas of how you can build your teams. You might have some good legendaries that could come. Okay, this might be a little bit of a problem. I did not get Irina to be healed up fast enough, and I think it was a problem because of our because of the timings of skills. But at the same time, what I could do is I could just tank up Irina a little bit more. And the thing is, if this happens, then the problem is when the boss is gonna do the next smack, we're gonna die, because without attack penalty, we're without the attack penalty, we're gonna be hit too hard and everybody's gonna die. Okay, not quite. We actually survived, which is surprising, but at the same time, it's not surprising because the reason why we survived is because Quarian brought us that defense up. So we were able to actually take that hit. The problem is, are we going to be able to kill the ads in time before the boss does it again? Because this is what starts happening. See, if you do not kill the side ads, by the time he comes back to the Nirvana skill, what is gonna happen is he's gonna start healing. But again, it seems like we're still going. Okay, can we do it? Come on, baby team, you got this. Come on, 4 versus 3. Can we still win it? Can we still win it? But again, when you have these types of fights, you're always going to try and scale it to your account. Scale it around your stats, your gear, your damage, your synergies. Like, for example, I took advantage, and keep that in mind, that's really important. I tried to take advantage, and I took advantage of the 5-man synergy. Having the 5-man synergy gives me to deal 15% more damage because I have all lightning or radiance heroes, okay? And by having that, I'm going to be able to do enough damage to try and kill the side ads, and then maybe do enough damage for the boss as well. It might be a little bit trickier because, like I said, he keeps starting to heal, so this might make it harder to take the boss down. Do we outdamage it or not? Obviously, because he does that invisibility, again, my Nimbus does not quite do the damage on the boss as we'd like, so having Arena die early was not helpful. But at least you can see, for example, that even Irina is not necessarily mandatory. You can just bring somebody else in this fight as long as, you know, you bring more damage, as long as you can survive the hits from the boss, you should be fine. So as an example, maybe instead of having Irina, if you have Quarian, time Quarian so that he always does his ultimate heal that also puts defense up just before the smack happens, and then you can bring a third DPS, because it's kind of a little bit of DPS race. This is where it becomes a little bit scary, because the more you don't kill the side ads while the boss does the ultimate, the more damage he gains. Come on, can we do it at the end? No, Nimbus actually did that. He did that a little bit too early, and we're just not quite there yet. We were really close. Let's see, can we still do it? Oh man, no, that's about it. But you get the principle. I guess, like I said, it was a little bit of bad RNG that Irina died early, and you know what, at the end of the day, it's stage 9. Even if you do fail it a little bit, this one should still be good. When I did it earlier, and it you know, it did not fail because freaking RNG, as it happens. When I did it earlier, this one was doing in a 2 minute and 30 seconds fight. So for example, now I see that this is the problem. I can just go on to Irina, and maybe I change, she has enough the accuracy, maybe I change, instead of having a crit damage one, I just throw some defense on her, or some HP, just to keep her alive. So let's have a look at everybody else's builds. Though, like I said, I have Shalter. This one depends on your DPS. Obviously, you're going to build your DPS to do as much damage as you can for their specific role. So for me, Shalter scales more from Enlightenment and from attack percent. So I tried to give him as much attack percent and Enlightenment as I could. Plus the Vial also boosts his damage, because all of his damage is derivative damage. So he's going to have defense here to survive, but obviously attack with Enlightenment would help more. And then Enlightenment on this one. Then if we talk about Nimbus, he's all about attack speed, okay? Because all his ultimate especially, he can just keep hitting like a maniac. So the more attack you have, the better. Again, he gains attack speed up, so that's why I chose to go with the Heart of the Gambler, because he's going to hit a lot, so he's going to do some massive damage, and he's also going to be built with crit rate and crit damage. Maybe I could even swap this one to give him crit damage glove instead of the attack percent. Then if we move over to the next one, that's going to be our, what is that? I think they're level 95s even. Quarian, he's just built in the protection set with survivability, HP percent, defense percent, enlightenment on this one, even though it gives us nothing. I could put something else. Maybe what gives us gives me more skill haste. Like, I just didn't take stuff. I could use this one. And then same thing here, defense. He just needs survivability and skill haste, so he goes as often as possible with his skilling, with his healing. And I have this artifact on him. I could always use this one. Does not really matter. Whichever gives him more healing. Then Irina was built for damage, but with enough accuracy, because we also gained the 50 from the bonus of the 3 elements, but I think we only need 220, so maybe I went overkill with this one, and instead of accuracy, maybe I could even go with defense. I could steal this one, or I could go with some other ones, and she should be fine. Also, one thing that I forgot to mention, I was using the attack one from Nimbus, the attack aura, so maybe if you bring somebody else, instead of Arena, they might have a survivability one. So it just depends. It depends on what you use. But yeah, like I said, Irina, she's just crit damage, accuracy, attack, crit damage. So she's basically built for damage, and also with the crown, because she hits on the ultimate, and that's where you want to have the Crown of the Clean for a chance to land a defense penalty, but it's only single target. I would have preferred to bring the Witch's Remains, but you know, it might not be as relatable as possible, so I just kept this one. And then the last one, well, the last one is the 4-star Enna. She's just tanky. HP percent, and again, I tried to give her some skill haste so that she comes back to her skills in time, but the thing is, this boss's full rotation is 24 seconds, and it shouldn't be that hard to do. So the only two things that I have timed in here are Arena to go at 26 seconds, so after the boss hits and puts the burns, and then every 24 seconds to always cleanse those burns. And then Irina does the attack penalty after the boss spawns the, the side adds, so she has a chance to remove that invisibility. And then again, every 24 seconds, so that the rotation stays in sync and everybody should do their skills at the right time. But anyway, I guess this is going to be it for the video today, guys. I hope this is helpful. I hope this gives you an idea because, like I said, you do not have to have specifically these heroes, but you saw what's happening. You want to have that right amount of damage, but also with the right synergy of buffs and debuffs in order to tackle this boss. And if we go over it again, what you need to have is attack penalty before the boss does this hit, and then you need to have a cleanse after the boss does this hit and puts burns on you so that you can cleanse it. Or if you do not have a cleanser, just use somebody to block it. So if you have somebody like a Thea or anybody else that brings you the what's it called, debuff prohibition, you can use that person so they put the debuff prohibition right now, and then when the boss goes and tries to place the burn, you don't have the burn go on you. So that might make it a little bit easier. One other thing that I could do is I could swap, instead of having Arena here, I could put it on the other side, and I could have Anna on the right hand side if she's tankier, so that Irina's not going to be the focus of this side at and us being killed faster. But like I said, this was just a little bit of bad RNG from what you've seen, because as long as we keep her alive, we should be just fine. Skills happening just okay, boom. And I think this is it was a good way, I suppose, the fact that we actually saw what happens when Irina dies, because this game still has, I think it's 3% chance that one of your debuffs does not land. So we saw that even if we do not have that attack penalty land, we can still take a hit from the boss's ultimate as long as we have the defense up from Quarian. So I kind of have, like with this team, I kind of have that extra layer of protection, of survivability in case something goes wrong. Even though, like, I don't know what happened, but that bad RNG of Irina just dying, I guess this was the problem. She got hit and maybe we didn't heal fast enough and that's what got it down. But look at this. This time around, I guess we're just going to have the run go all the way. So you can see that, like I said, it was successful, and that was just maybe bad RNG. It happens. For these types of games where a little bit of randomness is a thing, some bad RNG is bound to happen, and then, it's not gonna be ideal. Again, I think this is maybe what happened. Maybe she did attack penalty on the other side, and then she did not have it on this side so she got hit. But like I said, you can influence this with your HP and your defense. If you have enough of those ones, enough HP and defense, you should be able to keep her alive, because she's not the main damage dealer, okay? She helps with some damage, but she's, the main damage dealers for me are Shelter and Nimbus. Even though Nimbus seems like, okay, he doesn't have a ton of damage, he's the one that enables Shelter in this specific build. I'm guessing for an example that maybe might be relatable for people is you could have, instead of these two, you can have Erich and another wild hero, or you can even have maybe two wild heroes. If you have a defense up hero or somebody else that brings you attack penalty with healing, like a fruit bath, you can maybe even build that team, because at the end of the day you need to do lots of damage, okay? You need to do lots of damage so that you kill the side adds before the boss comes back to the Nirvana. Otherwise he's gonna keep healing and you're not gonna be able to take it down. And if you try bring heal prohibition with somebody like a Sigrid, that might be tricky, because every time the boss does not revive a side add, what happens is he gains more damage, and the longer the fight goes, the harder it's gonna be for you to kill it. But anyway, come on, let's take this boss down. Almost there, and it should be dead. Should be dead. Boom, there we go. Like I said, this team is successful. It worked on stage number 5. It had 3 rares. Look at this, 2 minutes and 44 seconds. Like, what more do you want? 3 rares, 2 epics, I did have, like I said, some epic artifacts maxed out, but I'm like almost 2 months into the season, so there's like a month and a bit left. By this time, you should have lots of that stuff leveled up, as I showed you. This is not an early game guide, okay? This is when you're getting towards the end game. But anyway, this is gonna be it for the video today, guys. As always, if you do enjoy my content, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel to see when I upload next, and I'm gonna see you on the next one. Peace, love, take care, run. Bye, guys.